Welcome to Mornings with Marla. I'm your host, Marla, and today we are discussing a very important issue. An issue that affects women every second: sexual abuse. Almost 18 million women have been sexually abused since 1998. Never have I thought this number could be this high. Many celebrities have shown their support to the many victims by wearing black to last night's Golden Globe Awards, including Meryl Streep, Susan Sarandon, Michelle Williams, and my dear friend Oprah. These celebrities have touched our hearts by delivering outstanding speeches in which they talk about sexual assault. Here is a small portion of what Oprah had to say yesterday during her acceptance speech of the Cecil B. DeMille Award. This movement of celebrities, called Time's Up, gave a voice to the victims of sexual assault and has inspired them to speak up even when they were told not to. It has made them stronger and has made everybody around them stronger as well. We also want to empower the victims on this show, and we want our two guests today to inspire our viewers who are victims to also speak up and tell their stories. I wish I could make the situation better on my own, but I can't. I need your help too. I still cannot wrap my head around the fact that millions of women must endure this every day because they have no other way to make money. If we can all work together, women and men, to fight against sexual assault, we will make lives of the victims a more bearable life. The longer we wait, the harder it will be for us to put an end to sexual abuse. Everyone here today is also wearing black to support Time's Up. After the break, two incredibly brave and inspiring women have accepted to tell us their stories and how sexual abuse has affected their lives today. One is a victim of sexual abuse. The other is the mother of the girl who was a victim of sexual abuse. Plus, an expert has been studying sexual abuse and its effect on women is here. So stay tuned and we will be right back after the break.
Tired of exercising and losing no weight at all? We'll use our new spice. Today and only, you can see the result before and after.
Our first guest today is a researcher about sexual abuse and rape. He has accomplished so many things and continues to do so. Please welcome Ryan Westwood. Hello, how are you? Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I've heard that you've been working on the subject for the past 15 years. Is that right?
That is right. In fact, a very special team of people and I have worked on this for many years and helped many sexual abuse victims recover in our institution.
Can you explain to us how your association works and what is sexual abuse?
First of all, we all need to know that sexual assault and abuse is bullying. In most modern legal contexts, sexual assault is illegal. But still, in some countries, it is not. 82% of girls under the age of 18 experience sexual assault and abuse. Only 5% of men and women reported those sexual abuses in 2014. In the workplace, 43% of women and 12% of men have been sexually assaulted. Imagine, every 92 seconds, an American is sexually assaulted. These numbers are so big, I sometimes ask myself if they are real. When people get sexually assaulted, they suffer health problems. like anxiety, depression, headaches, sleep disorders, weight loss or gain, nausea, lowered self-esteem, and sexual dysfunction. It can also sometimes lead to suicide. In Egypt, 99% of, of women in 7 regions got sexually assaulted at least once. Now, today, many associations have been created, like Time's Up Association, that helps these victims heal and gives them a voice to speak up and find their assaulter. In many cases, the police ignore these victims, and so it is up to us and you, the people, to find the criminals.
I'm completely shocked. Those numbers are huge. But thanks to your association, these people are now being acknowledged.
Thank you.
I've heard that your sister was a victim of sexual abuse, wasn't she?
Indeed, she was. My sister Scarlett was a victim of sexual abuse. She was 9 years old when it happened, and I was 11. We were on a holiday in France in, I think, 1982. Our parents left us the night at the hotel, and they went to have dinner. And, you know, we were so excited to have the whole room to ourselves, to play and have fun. I can still remember her last laughs, her voice. We ordered room service, and she insisted to bring ice from the ice machine down the hall on her own. I remember her exact words. "I'm a big girl now. I can go by myself." She left the room so excited, and that was the last time I saw her. Had I been wiser, that wouldn't have happened.
I'm sorry for your loss. It's hard, isn't it, to lose someone you love?
Thank you. I remember that 2 weeks after the event, the police found her body in the middle of the forest, not so far away from the hotel. They said that she was raped, then left in the cold by the criminal to freeze to death. The suspect was never found by the police. 2 years later, the same person raped a girl and a boy, twins, and then killed them.
And where were the police when this
Taking
happened?
care of more important things, I guess. You know, these events made me the person I am today, and the thought of saving just one person was more than enough to make me create this association.
What cruel world we live in.
This is a worldwide phenomenon, and we have to make the situation better. It starts with you, the audience in this room, and the people watching this show. I have faith in you. We have faith in you. And if we put our hands together, we can change the future and make the world a better place. The more we work together, the safer our community will be. Time's up on silence. Time's up on waiting. Time's up on tolerating discrimination, harassment, and abuse.
That's Ryan Westwood, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. I wish you luck.
Let's welcome Rosie Abagnale, the mother of a 17-year-old girl who's been raped.
Rosie Abagnale, the mother of Elizabeth and Sandrine, who she's really protective of since the death of her daughter Elizabeth. Of course, she is still struggling.
Hi Marla,
Hi, Rosie. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. So, Rosie, do you remember what happened?
Yes, I remember,
Can you please tell us your story?
of course. It was August 2nd, and Elizabeth went to a party. She told me she would be back by 2 a.m., and when I woke up, she wasn't home yet, and I tried to call her, but her phone was turned off. After several hours, I called the police, and they found her later on Nelson Street next to this McDonald's where all the kids go during lunch. She was lying there with several bruises and a broken arm. She had been raped. After this, I tried to help her. I told her to get back on her feet. I told her she needed to stop crying over spilled milk, but she was never the same anymore. She wouldn't go out, she wouldn't eat. Her eyes turned cold, and I never saw her beautiful smile again. I told her, if you rest, you will feel better, but it never worked, and I knew it wouldn't. Her father and I tried everything. First, we took her to a psychologist, but she wasn't making any progress. And the real question is, why wasn't she making any progress? Because people all around the world are hurting our kids and our families. Her heart was taken away from her. It was like she didn't have a soul anymore. The more I think about it, the more it hurts. She wouldn't go to school anymore, and when she would break desks, chair, and maybe it was for the best, maybe her anger would have been gone after this. I wish we tried harder. Maybe she would still be here with us. She would have woken up every day like every teenager. She would have had a good life again.
Oh, Rosie, please, don't cry. It's fine.
She decided to kill herself, to leave her father, her sister, to leave me. But, I don't blame her. I want her to know that wherever she is, I'll always be with her no matter what. I just wish I could have showed her that when she was still alive. You people, you who we supposedly call human, don't you have any shame? Don't you see that young girls are killing themselves because of you? They had their entire lives ahead of them, dreams, ambitions, loved ones, and you took it all in a matter of seconds. People, humans, citizens who are watching this, I beg you to do something because you can. You can. You can help those young girls because I know that I will never forget the pain I went through. I will never forget the day I came in her room and saw her lying there with pills all over the carpet. I will never forget the moment they put the drape over her head and I never saw her beautiful face again. I would do anything to see her again. Anything. You never know when these kind of things gonna happen. Talk to your children because you don't know how they're suffering. You don't know what they're thinking until they open up to you. I came here not only to tell my story, but to tell you that I can't do anything for Elizabeth anymore. But I can for my other daughter, and you can for your child.
Thank you very much, Rosie, for this very inspirational message.
I'll do anything to help. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Our next guest will be right after the break. Stay tuned!
Tired of people always making fun of you? Wear Abercrombie for your pleasure, so you can be the one making fun of them.
And now, we have the pleasure to welcome Priscilla, a victim of this terrible act.
Priscilla, victim of sexual abuse, who fell into a deep depression.
Hello, Priscilla, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
So, how do you feel today, Priscilla?
Well, I surely feel much better. Of course, I've had 3 years to recover both physically and mentally. However, it still remains an awful memory.
There's no doubt about this. We're extremely grateful that you're making abstraction of your pain to tell us your story today.
Of course, it's my pleasure. Apparently, the more I talk about it, the less it will hurt, so here I am.
Tell us, when did it happen exactly?
As I told you, it was 3 years ago, more precisely on June 23rd, if that's what you were asking. A day I can never forget. It was after a dance lesson, so it was really dark outside. Every night after school, I had to walk home. This time I was really tired, so I decided to take a shortcut.
Back then you still lived in Nour, right?
Yes, exactly. So I took the shortcut, which my parents completely forbade me to take. I wish I had listened to them. Of course, I knew that there was a reason why they didn't want me to take it, but not for a moment did I expect this to happen.
I understand. No one could ever guess that something like this could happen to them before it does.
Yes, that's true. So while I was walking, I could clearly sense that I was being followed, so I started accelerating the pace.
Is that when he grabbed you?
When I turned around, I'm sorry. When I turned around, he grabbed me, he attached my wrists together, and that's when he raped me. I'm really sorry. It's just that it's still really difficult for me to talk about this without getting too emotional.
Don't apologize. It's normal. It's so hard to open up in front of so many people for the first time.
Yes, but it's especially heartbreaking and hard to open up on something that I'm constantly trying to forget.
Oh my dear, I'm so sorry. It must be awfully difficult. I hope this will help you feel better.
I don't believe it will, but if I can have the chance to help anyone to get through this, it's with no hesitation that I will do what's in my power to do so.
That's admirable. I don't want to ask you this, but did he hit
It's
you?
okay. To answer your question, yes. He kept hitting me in the face. I had huge bruises. When I came home, I had to tell my parents that I slipped on my way back and that I fell hard.
Why didn't you tell them the truth?
I didn't want them to know because I was ashamed. I felt dirty. It haunted me for so long. I couldn't talk about it, but I was constantly thinking about it.
I don't know what to tell you. It's dreadful.
Well, and now I can affirm that no one in this situation should ever feel so responsible. Because we're the victims, aren't we?
Of course. You are the victims.
I kept crying all the time. That horrible man had taken a piece of me. He did not only physically hurt me.
Are there any damages?
I was left with a skull fracture.
Oh my dear. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. The hardest part was that he had also destructed my freedom, my happiness, and my soul. I couldn't live with myself, not like that. It was definitely the most difficult thing I ever had to go through. I was down in the dumps for weeks. I started missing school. My friend noticed that something was going on, so I told her the truth.
How did she react?
She looked horrified.
Which is understandable.
However, she couldn't feel it, and I don't blame her for that. It's just that anyone who has never experienced this can never know what it makes you feel like. It broke me. He broke me.
Has the police found him?
No, they still haven't. My parents find this revolting, but honestly, I don't think it would change much. What is done is done. I just hope he won't do this to anyone else.
I still will agree with your parents. I think he should be arrested and punished. How did they find out?
Without telling me, my best friend decided that this was what was best for me. So I can now thank her for it.
Did that help you?
Yes. Talking about this to my mom and dad, on the contrary of what I could think of, helped me a little bit.
Well, I'm happy to hear that.
If someone had told me back then that today I would be here sharing this story in front of so many people, I would have never believed them. Remember everyone, things always get better.
Well, that is lovely advice to end with. Thank you for saying We have reached the end of today's show. I hope this show has inspired you to tell your story, and remember that everyone, your friends, your family, we are all here to support you. And even on the worst days, there is hope for you in this world. I would like to thank our 3 incredibly inspiring guests for coming and sharing their own stories. And thank you for watching. Time's up on silence. Time's up on suffering. Time's up on waiting. Time's up on tolerating harassment and abuse. Time's up. Come back tomorrow where we talk about obesity and how it has affected the people in America. You do not want to miss it.